Are there any constituency statements by honourable members? I call the member for Warringah.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. For some nearly 2 years now, my community in Warringah has been deeply distressed, caused by the events occurring in Israel and Palestine. I've heard about the ongoing frustration and feeling of powerlessness in the face of the inability of the international community to achieve a lasting ceasefire, a release of all hostages and the delivery of humanitarian aid to innocent civilians. We have heard from the government, and we've heard many calls for the government to not bring the conflict onto Australian soil, tearing at our social cohesion and bringing about horrendous rises in antisemitism in our communities. But unfortunately, the conflict has arrived in Australia through our phones, our screens, the news, and the devastating loss of civilian lives and apparent targeting of hospitals and humanitarian aid. It must be possible to stand up for both international human rights and fight antisemitism in Australia. The government's recent statement calling out the breaches of international law have been welcomed, but words need to translate into action. Australia must consider the implications of continuing major trading relations with a country whose actions appear in direct breach of international law and continue to block essential aid to innocent civilians. I've previously written to Minister Wong addressing questions that have been asked by constituents, including whether the government will consider taking further measures, including targeted trade or other sanctions against the nation Israel. Economic isolation was effective in helping bring around the end to apartheid in South Africa, in other nations and other conflicts, and should be on the table. There is a live question that, due to its continued actions against the Palestinian people, is Israel a nation with whom we should be having extensive trading relations? However, I want to make really clear that the actions of Israel must not be conflated and attributed to Jewish Australians. I stand with the Australian Jewish community and will continue to advocate for their safety and well-being, ensuring that all Australians feel that they are valued as a part of our multicultural and social fabric. Like all forms of racism in our community, there is no place for anti-Semitism or any form of hate in Australia. The anti-Semitism plan proposed by the Special Envoy for Anti-Semitism, Zali Steggall, has unfortunately raised concerns within the community, especially the definition of anti-Semitism, and concerns relating to freedom of speech and criticism of the actions of another nation. I support that we have a unified approach to combating racism, one that builds social cohesion, not divisions, and combats the underlying drivers of community tensions, including global conflicts and Australia's response to it. So I do call on the government to implement a unified approach that unifies all Australians, to implement the Race Discrimination Commission National Anti-Racism Framework, and to lead with boldness and courage.